the back. Highway in the other back. Okay, ready? High in the front. How's it going, everybody? Day 14 of JIB. No, it's just day 3? Day 5 if you were in for the long haul. It's awesome. Been fun. You guys enjoy the concert last night? Yeah, the talented guys. How many of you are going to go to the concert Monday night? Good. Me too. What's it called this year?
Orion.
It's not going to be called Jailbreak, but that's because the venue was Jailbreak. So, Greta, you work here. You should know these things.
It's at Orion.
You pretend to work here? Wow, you fooled me for 9 years. So what's the venue called? Do you know?
Orion.
The Orion? So it's.
The same one as
if we're going with the theme of it's named for the venue in which it takes place, we're all going to Orion on Monday.
Or is there saying Orion?
That'll be awesome. Good stuff. Where do they play? In here? Did Rob and Jason do their?
Yeah, they play.
Awesome. Very good. Well, we're gonna have a casual chat this morning because it's, you know, everybody's burnt up and beat up, getting photos with handsome tall guys. And yet here I am. Say it again? You already smelled them? Yeah. Well, I figure at this point you must be immune. You must not be overwhelmed. How many of you in this room are doing your first Supernatural convention? And then, did you do photos with Jared Jensen and all that stuff? You did?
I can't afford that shit.
You don't want to get near him, right? It's overwhelming. Who did their first photograph with Jared Jensen? Anybody do that? Was it everything you dreamt it would be? Are they taller in real life than you thought they'd be?
They're shorter.
Prettier in real life than you thought they'd be? Pretty dudes. Tall, sweaty, pretty dudes. Were you nervous? To get up next to him? Kind of intimidating, right? Like dudes you see on TV, and then you're like walking up to them, they're like, hello. People on your planet are small. They're not right. It's not fair. I don't like it. But we have to deal with it. We all have to face those demons. In this case, our demons are very attractive. Let's take a question, because there was one standing there, so why not? We wanted to have this conversation. All right. Lay it on me.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, you?
I'm tired and nervous, and I can't even English.
You can't even English. You're Englishing the shit out of the question. And what do you mean first of all, tired? I get. You're tired from the fun and revelry you've been experiencing, right?
Yes.
Nervous?
Do not let me move my job.
Why would you be nervous?
Because it's you.
But the distance, like it's sort of a safe distance, you know. There's nothing to really be concerned about. That's not. This wouldn't be nerve-wracking, you know. From this, you know, it would be nerve-wracking. This makes it nerve-wracking, and I wouldn't do this to you. I'm not gonna do it to you. But if I took you on stage, then it would be nerve-wracking. So, but I'm not going to do that to you. But if I did this to you, if I brought you out, which I'm not going to do, and sat you down, which I promise you I will not do, sit down. And now, it's a little more nerve-wracking, right? Now, are you more nervous or less nervous?
More.
More nervous? Why? It's just us having a chat. Okay, so you have a question. Hold on, I'm going to get you a microphone because we have about 40 back there. Hold on. We're right there. Entertain them.
Spin the wheel!
Spin the wheel!
Spin the wheel!
Spin the wheel!
How'd it go?
You're smarter than that.
All right, here you go. It's a microphone. All right, so now what is your question?
I've written it down.
Say it again.
I have written it down.
Okay, great. She's written it down, everybody. Here she goes.
Okay, so I wanted to know when you found out that the trickster was actually Gabriel, and how your perception of that character changed after that.
When I found out that the trickster was actually Gabriel, how did my perception of that character change after that? Good question.
I'm glad.
Well, here's the deal. So, when that happened, which was long ago,
We know.
oh yeah, I realized it made the character in my mind more relevant to the show because Loki, or the trickster, had come in and messed with the boys, but he hadn't been a part of the grander story. He wasn't part of their big journey. Whereas, as soon as he revealed himself to be Gabriel, now that character had more resonance and mattered more in the big story and the big journey the boys were on at that point. So, I liked it personally from a writing and performing standpoint because it made the character more impactful, not just somebody coming in and messing with the guys, but messing with the guys because he has an investment in the situation himself, because it involves his family, and because he's, giving into this idea that the apocalypse is inevitable, and so rather than instigate it himself and get involved, it sort of showed a weakness in his character because he was forcing the boys to do the work for him. Hey, what were your takes on the whole thing? What did you think when you found out that Loki was Gabriel?
I was thrilled.
You were thrilled?
Yeah.
Okay, what?
Because I like Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel.
Right. Good choice.
I know.
But you liked Gabriel more than you liked the trickster?
No. Both characters.
You liked both?
Yeah.
So you liked finding that out because it sort of made Gabriel more relevant in the story?
I would say so.
Oh my God, we're so similar. I think the same thing. Are you totally caught up in the show?
Yeah.
Have you watched every episode so far?
Yes. And I'm not happy.
You're not happy?
No. Not really.
You don't enjoy? Are you guys all caught up in the show?
I'm sorry for you.
I'm sorry for me. I'm sorry for me. I wasn't. That wasn't my choice. I didn't decide to go jet skiing. But listen, that's what makes great drama, is they giveth and they taketh away.
We don't want drama. We want you there.
I need to get you a job as a writer on the show, then I'd be back on there. Look, I felt very fortunate to get the episodes I got this year. I got to be a part of some really cool stories. And there were some days on set where it was a lot of people from the show sitting there, and it was cool. It was an interesting episode to be a part of. Interesting number of episodes to be a part of with a lot of the cast that I hadn't worked with. It was really cool. It was awesome. I'm sorry that it didn't end the way we all wanted it to, but it's a good analogy for life.
At least they gave us episode 20.
Exactly. At least they gave us episode 20. We'll always have episode 20 to lean back on. We'll always have episode 20. Thank you so much. Great question. Now, wasn't that a little more nerve-wracking? You're welcome. You're good?
You did a great job.
Right?
You're on stage.
Jason, man, those are us. You, right there, in the cat ears.
Yeah.
How are you?
Hi.
Jason, we're just going to plow forward taking questions.
Plow through, I
All
love
right. You young lady, go ahead.
My question is you, and it's regarding Gabriel. So we were talking with David yesterday that his character, Mr. Catch, is not, or he's searching for a human, and
Searching for what?
for a human.
Redemption.
Redemption, thank
Okay.
you, sorry. For redemption, and he's not likely getting it from the Winchester brothers. However, he was Gabriel, not doing that good things to the Winchesters, got the redemption like pretty easy. And while they were saving you, they were really nice, especially Sam. So my question would be, how do you feel about it, and do you think that they got easy on Gabriel?
Interesting question. I don't think he ever fully got redemption from the boys. I think that at a certain point, Dean and Sam needed Gabriel, so that made his re-entry into the group kind of by force, in a way, because Sam relates to him because of the brother aspect, because of the disenfranchised nature of his family that parallels the Winchester family. So there's something about Sam and Sam's desire to get revenge on Lucifer, paralleling Gabriel's desire to get revenge on Loki. So there are parallels there that make sense. And I don't think Dean's ever really that much on board, except for the fact that he's needed. In fact, I think the only time Dean ever really accepts Gabriel as, achieving redemption, so to speak, is at the very final moment.
Yeah.
When Gabriel steps up and does something that's not Gabriel-centric, Because even in the journey, Gabriel's very much about Gabriel or his close group. When he hears trouble, he's like, nope, let's not help. Like he didn't dive in quickly. So for him to step up and do something brave and selfless, I think at that moment, later on, at the very end, he wins the respect of Dean. But I think it took that to pull that off. So I don't think it was all as easy as we say.
But he smiles, like when you tell the story about the porn stars and they really try to get you back to your speed again, but then Catch is like they're totally broken, they're like, no, go away.
Yeah, well, Gabriel's a lot more charming than Catch. I mean, Gabriel tells a better story. I mean, if you're stranded on a desert island with only one person and a cocktail shaker, who's more fun, me or Catch? I'm gonna go with me.
I accept that.
Yeah, so even though Dean may not like me and may not, think I'm a stand-up guy, the man loves a good porno story, so it's hard to, what jury would convict?
I love that the entire story, you said Gabriel, and then you said stuck on a desert island with me or Catch. Me.
Good point. Well, now I'm having my own little fantasy about it. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
You.
Hi, me and my friend that was on stage a while back, we are planning a trip to Vancouver and the US next year.
Oh, nice.
And what's like the best locations we shouldn't miss, or like best places we are supposed to visit?
For the entire United States? Can you narrow it down?
We are planning Vancouver, San Francisco, and Austin.
Oh.
There's a brewery in Austin.
Yeah.
That's our plan. That's our plan, yes.
Also, I can text you Jared Jensen's home addresses. They're nice. They're nice places.
Yes.
And then you'll obviously see the county jail. That's a nice. Let's see. I don't know Austin that well. I'll leave that to Mr. Manns to chime in on. I'll tell you, Vancouver is just a beautiful city. If you're gonna go there, I don't know if you're going in the winter or summer, but
March.
okay, March. So you're in the spring. All kinds of great restaurants and things there. The area called Whistler is super beautiful. It's about an hour and a half north. Beautiful drive, mountain area if you want to get out of the city for a day. Otherwise, Vancouver, you don't really need to know where to go because the city is completely walkable. It's an amazing city and it's easy to get around in, and you just kind of go.
And a little bit north of Vancouver on the coast, what's that called? The little bay where there's like a little town, Horseshoe Bay.
Horseshoe Bay.
I would check that out. It's a really neat little spot on the water.
And you know what? A place I've never gone but people love is Vancouver Island, right? Victoria, which people just love. You take a little seaplane or a ferry there. Apparently, it's beautiful. San Francisco.
You guys did a tour of San Francisco. You're the perfect person to ask because you know all.
Well, here's what I think about
the entire.
I know very little about San Francisco, but I did spend some time there in my early 20s, mid 20s, and the neighborhood of North Beach is the Italian section of town, and is a really cool part of the city. And where I made a movie called North Beach. So I spent a lot of time there making a movie about the area. So that's a cool area to check out. The Embarcadero, the whole waterfront area, the ferry building, and obviously even the touristy things, like the Golden Gate Bridge, is amazing. And it's worth checking out the obvious tourist spots.
And they invented the fortune cookie and Levi's jeans in San Francisco.
There you go.
And Austin?
Oh yeah, TLC.
Yeah, just the brewery. That's all.
What about that? What is it? What's the thing? TLC. What's it called? ACL.
ACL is a great time to go. Check out 6th Street, which is where a lot of bars and live music venues are. And
Yeah, if you can go to a show at Austin City Limits, they're really hard tickets to get, but if you can get tickets to that, it's amazing music and amazing video. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great trip.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question for you before you start.
All right.
First of all,
Yeah.
I hope that your arm heals quickly, and I hope that you feel better.
Yeah.
Second of all, is it actually injured, or are you cosplaying Jared from JIB 6?
That's the question. That's a good question.
I'm not cosplaying, but I think that might be a subconscious reason why I fell from the bike.
Okay.
But I listened to it and I put it back on, so.
Good for you. Good for you. See, I have some positive influence. I'm not all negative. And what is your question, young lady?
My question is, what is the general timetable from the end of one season to the other? Like, when do the writers pick back up writing, and how does it?
So the writers finished writing. Obviously, they stay on, especially Andrew Dabb will stay on and be there as an advisor through the very last day of shooting and post-production on the final episode. But the other writers, as they finish their scripts, they kind of wrap up in March and April, depending on which episodes they're writing. And they'll start again real soon, they late June. I mean, they're probably, I don't know their official start date, but I think it's late June. So their 3-month break is basically, all of March and April and May, or some of April and May, and then a little bit of June, and then it starts again in June. And then the production will pick up in July. So there's not a lot of downtime because of the number of episodes this show does. It's not, the fact that it's 20 to 23 episodes a year is a significant amount of material to craft. So they're like a school year, I would say. Like they're like on a 9-month working, 3 months off kind of schedule.
And how far ahead are the episodes from what we see? I mean, how many episodes are already shot when we see one?
Right. Okay. So at the beginning of the year, they'll get a pretty good head start on it, right? So they'll be writing these shows, and they'll have 4 or 5 in the can, so to speak, and then start from a writing perspective, and then start shooting. Towards the end of the year, it's a much tighter schedule because you kind of lose that cushion, and now you're really writing for the week you're about to start shooting. So it gets much more cramped as the season goes on. At the beginning, they'll probably have 3 completely done before you see 1, because or at least close to it, because they'll finish 1, be post-production on that while they're shooting 2, and then start ramping up for the fall, because we start in July. The show usually starts airing in late September, right? Bumper? Yeah, so that makes sense. 2 to 3 episodes done before it starts.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. And remember, bike safety, helmets,
I think I'm not going to do anymore.
follow traffic laws.
And maybe ride a bicycle and not a unicycle anymore.
Yeah, don't try to impress your friends. All right, good stuff.
Before we take the next question, I have an announcement.
An announcement, everybody.
Thank you, Richard. You're welcome. The winner of the Twitter contest, who won, I think, a double photo op, they will put the winner's Twitter handle up on the screen.
What was the competition?
Boom. There you go.
I don't see it.
Congratulations.
What was Oh, is that the photo?
Antoinette.
Oh, right there, okay. Got it. All right. I was looking at the scrolling letters. All right, very cool. Congratulations.
Well done. Congrats. Beautiful work. Let me. You.
You.
Is that good?
Yeah, good.
Okay, me. First of all, this is for Richard, and I think they should stop jet skiing Gabriel because it's kind of okay. Maybe it's time to jet ski some other angel. I don't know, someone who's a big bag of jet skis and
Right.
yeah. Okay, but we've seen Gabriel change a lot in the course of these episodes, and he's been through a lot, and he changed in saying tricks are for kids. I'm not doing that anymore, which is sad, really. And what do you think? Have you ever wondered what he was going to do if he had managed to get away from the whole mess that Sam and Dean and the work possibly ending?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I haven't thought about that at all. I think Castiel was sincere when he mentioned the idea of maybe Gabriel stepping up and taking over heaven. I think that was a legitimate conversation that they were having because they were, in such dire straits up there. So I think that's what Castiel's plan for Gabriel would have been, probably was. So my guess is that's probably where he would have ended up. He would have ended up trying to, correct his mistakes in the past in the form of stepping up and being responsible and trying to do something good for his people, so to speak, and not just be about him. So that is my theory. And when he says the tricks are for kids, I think Gabriel's Gabriel. I don't think he's ever going to lose that personality or that snarkiness that is who he is. I mean, obviously, he's kind of lost it now, but you know what I'm saying? When he's around, I think that's who he is. I think that tricks are for kids comment really comes on the heels of the long journey, the long suffering journey he ended up on based on trying to be clever and outwit everybody and avoid responsibility. I think that's what he really means. I don't think it means he's not going to be, use his powers and be crafty and that kind of stuff. I think it's more about he's not going to try to dupe Sam and Dean and leave them hanging when they need him most. I think at this point he's like at that, he's saying that because he's like, I tried that backfired, and I got hurt in the process, and I'm eternally hurt from that experience, so I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to be who I am and do what I'm supposed to do. So I think that's more what that meant, more than it meant I'm no longer going to be clever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you. And let me add that there are Dean girls and Sam's girl and Cass girls. Know that there are a lot of Gabriel girls, and always will be.
Thank you very much.
No matter how much jet skiing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You young lady.
Hello.
Hello.
My question is for Rich, but Jason, I just asked Rob, and he said that you and him are working on new Station Breaks music next month. Is that true?
It is true.
Oh, wow.
Super happy with that.
I assume Billy is still part of this.
Yes.
He is, yeah. Rob and Billy are going to come to Virginia, actually. They're going to hang at my house for a little bit in the middle of nowhere with nothing to distract us from writing other than food.
Sleep?
Nah.
Okay.
That's awesome. Richard, is there anything that you wanted to do or include in an episode that you've directed from Supernatural that you had to cut for any reason?
Ooh, not really, to be totally honest. I mean, the only things that have changed in episodes that I've gotten are, there's a couple of shots that I wanted to do.
There wasn't anything you wish you could have used
No, there was
in an
one.
episode that you
There was
didn't
one.
get a chance to, maybe like 6'2".
Oh,
Hour and a half.
well,
Just curious.
if I could have, that role that was a Jason Man's type, and I'm like, who do I get? There was one thing I wanted to do there was one shot I wanted to do in episode, I can't remember the number, but the Stuck in the Middle with You.
Yes.
That I wanted to do. It was a visual effects shot that I was going to do when Ramiel was being surrounded by the boys in the barn, and I was going to do a shot when Jared drops the lighter to light the ring of fire around him. I was going to do a crane shot that went up and so you saw the fire going on in this sort of very detailed pattern, like all around. It was going to be this cool, like swooping up crane shot that captured that what was going around. And we ran out of time. And it was funny because Gabe, who's our first AD, who's from Brazil, he's great. And he would come to me and he's like, "Is there a world where maybe we move the crane shot to the end of the day? Because maybe we need to get this other stuff and then we'll worry about that later." I'm like, "Okay, we'll worry about the main components of the scene and then we'll get the crane shot. Yay." And then he just was chicking around, just moving like crazy, and still it's just a long day. And he's like, "Is there a world where there's no crane shot? We're telling the story in a different way." I'm like, "All right." It's rented a giant crane that sat in the corner, the world's biggest paperweight for 12 hours. And that happens, you know, you lose some moments because of time, as long as you know how to prioritize the scene. I mean, if I'd gotten the crane shot but hadn't gotten the actual scene itself, I'd have been in a real pickle. So you gotta pick your battles. But otherwise, for the most part, all the scenes and things that I really like in the show and the episodes I got, I've been very happy with how they've stayed in the script. I mean, stayed in the final cut. I'll shoot them the way I want them. I'll cut them together. There's always little details you wish you had more time to focus on and things like that. But for the most part, I've really gotten to tell the story I want to tell. And once I turn in my cut, the powers that be come in and make their improvements and do some cool stuff, some really cool stuff. But there hasn't been anything where I was like, "Oh man, they totally ruined the scenes that I wanted." For the most part, it all comes out looking pretty much like I wanted it to look out. So, knock on wood so far, it's going okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I have a question for the audience.
Audience, listen up.
Thank you, Rich.
Sure.
How many of you have at least one or two sentences that you don't understand when Rich is speaking? You can be honest. Come on, you can be honest. I'm always curious because Rob jokes around about it a lot too, but we call Richard the king of colloquialisms.
Yeah.
There are little sayings that are kind of particular to the South that you say just almost as a joke, but it's like a metaphor for the thing. It's almost like Cockney slang.
Yeah, in a way, it is.
And it's really specific to the South. And Rich is the king of them. He knows all of them and he makes them up on the spot, and they're really good. If you understand what he means. You know.
And by the way, I know what you're saying. I know I'm like that, and I will be mid-answer, and I'll say, "Well, you know, we made a silk purse out of a sow's ear." Why did I say that? They're not going to know what that means. But it's too late, because it comes out of me.
Yeah. We found ourselves truly inside a pickle. You were inside a pickle. The pickle that you eat.
Why did they put you in the jar with the brine and make you a pickle? I don't understand. That's the one they covered.
Yeah. We were in you've probably all heard the story, but I'm going to tell it again. We were in the lobby of our hotel or a really nice restaurant or something, I can't remember where it was, and a bridal party walked by. Beautiful, beautiful dress. All the guys had on their like perfectly fitted suits, and there was for some reason a moment where we were kind of standing next to the groom, and you went through, because obviously it's a big event, so there's innumerable colloquialisms referring to weddings.
Right.
And you started on both the bass.
Yeah.
And the bride and the groom had no idea what he was talking about, and he kept trying to explain it by using a different saying. He's like, "Hey, you attached the old ball and chain? Excuse me? Both the bass. brought that bass in the boats. What were the other ones you
I said, getting hitched. When are you getting hitched? Thinking like that's normal, but it's still not. And like, he said, when are you tying the knot? Like, and Rob's like, Christ, just ask them when they're getting married. What's wrong with you? I'm like, oh, right, that's what I forgot about that. Yeah, that was good. I don't think I think they just backed away slowly, nervous. You, lady, let's take a question from you.
Okay, so in Norse mythology, Loki and Odin are actually blood brothers. Do you know why in Supernatural Odin is Loki's father? Is it so that Gabriel and Loki both have father issues?
No idea.
No idea.
I didn't know that piece of Norse mythology until you told me right now, so
Okay.
no clue.
I got this one.
Jason's got it though.
Yes.
Exactly. That's the answer? Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. You. Hey.
For you, but
Thanks.
it's not supernatural related.
Okay.
Alright, so I love the HBO production in Band Brothers.
Thank you.
So I was wondering if you could share anything that stick with you about that experience, especially because I heard that some of you were able to meet the actual heroes you were portraying. So
Yeah, we met. So Band of Brothers, for those who don't know, is a World War II miniseries that was based on a book of the same name that followed the war, the training and war exploits of a very specific company of men in the 101st Airborne. And it was, the number of things that stuck with me from that experience are too numerous to go through in a panel, but it was a phenomenal experience. We did get to meet a lot of the veterans. The gentleman I played died in Battle of the Bulge, but I met his family, and that was a huge honor. Actually tracked them down because the production didn't know where they were. And this is pre-internet, so it wasn't, you didn't just Google it. I mean, the internet existed, but not like it does now. Yeah, it was great. It was a monumental event for a lot of us who were young actors trying to break into the business, and it was a big job. But beyond that, it was this opportunity to portray real people who did something really extraordinary in very dark times. It's hard for people like Jason and myself to fathom the idea of Northern Europe being occupied by another European country. I mean, that's crazy. I think London was getting bombed by Germany. It's just impossible to comprehend. Then you have America, who was economically depressed at the time, coming out of the Depression, and have these young men who volunteered to fight a war in a country that, again, we take for granted. We hop on a plane, we come to Europe. For the 101st Airborne, the majority of those gentlemen had never seen a plane in person, let alone gotten on one. And the first 20 times they got on a plane, they jumped out of it. And it was an intense time in the world's history, and it was a real honor to sort of play the guys who did what needed to be done, and it was educational to learn about those guys, to learn more about the war, to understand what that time period must have been like and felt like. And I also consider the actors alongside whom I worked to be some of the most talented and friendliest and closest, talented actors and friendliest guys, some of my closest friends. We've seen, in this week alone, we've had 3 Band of Brothers actors hanging out with us backstage, or in the streets, wherever. A couple guys in England, one of the guys we ran into here in Rome. There's a clump of us, a solid clump of us who are still very close. We have a barbecue every year to celebrate the beginning of boot camp. And we all support each other in our various professional journey, and we also have watched each other's kids grow up and gone to each other's weddings. It was an amazing experience, both personally and professionally, to be a part of.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
I also think one of the many morals of that story is if you want to make a production that breaks all kinds of records and is something that changes the landscape of the genre it's in and sticks around for decades to come. Cast Dick Spade Jr.
Yeah, I'm the secret ingredient. I mean, really, when you think about it, that must be what it is. I mean, it couldn't be. Spielberg and Hanks are okay.
They're okay.
And they're trying.
I would have thought maybe it was them if you didn't then get cast in Supernatural and make that 14 years.
Yeah,
run.
I know. I am the through line.
Well done.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks for getting it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Young lady? Are you nervous? Because I can help you get less nervous. Are you sure? Because Jason, we can get her to the relaxing chair if you'd like to come. Do you want to come to the relaxing chair? Are you sure? Because I feel like you do. Come up here, let's talk about it. Let's just talk about it. Let's just see. We'll get you up here. I mean, Ryan makes sense. I don't want you being nervous. I want you to be relaxed and comfortable. Come here. This will be much more accommodating. Come here. This will be great. You're going to feel great. It's just between you, me, Jason, and the internet. Come on up here. Now sit right here in one of these comfortable chairs. Jason's going to sit right here. You're going to sit right here. And I'm going to sit right here. Come here. You hang on. You brought a lot of stuff. Are you moving in? Okay, now, young lady. Jason, get it on in there.
What's your name?
Valentina.
Valentina.
Lovely to meet you.
Nice to see you. Have you had a good week? Have you had a good weekend?
Yes, you?
I had a great weekend. Thank you for asking. Jason, have you had a good weekend?
Had a lovely weekend.
That's great. Did you go see Jason play music last night?
No, fortunately, I don't really good with English.
Oh. Did you see him play guitar? That's okay. He's not mad. Like, sorry, sorry, I was in a plane crash. So what is your question? Now, by the way, isn't this relaxing?
You're sitting, you had to stand up over there.
Yeah, come on, this is great. All right, so what is your question, young lady?
If you could write an episode of Supernatural with no rules to respect, what would you create?
If I could watch an episode with no rules to respect, I respect no rules. I truly love how well-spoken all of you are when you speak a second language. I'm not making a joke. We laugh about how dopey we sound compared to your word choice when you speak English. You'll say something that in the U.S., the way we speak to each other, if Jason works somewhere and say, hey, man, do you know where I can get extra towels for my room? And he goes, I'll check around, I'll see what I can do for you. Here, you ask the same question, they're like, I am not sure, but I will check with my colleague, and we will find you an answer. You're like, well, we don't use colleague nearly enough. And there's always like, my colleague will be thrilled to assist you. Colleague? So I like that with no rules to respect. I like that. I'm going to take that one. That's a good word choice. Here's what I would do. It would be a scene, maybe an entire episode, but there would be a scene that has Rob Benedict, that has Matt Cohen, that has Sebastian Roche, that has Timothy Amundsen, and then it has your regulars, it has your Jareds, your Jensens, your Mishas, it has your Jim Beaver, it has Charlie back. Finish your day. It has all the heavy hitters, Sam Smith ever, and it would be, I would stage it like The Last Supper. So that you'd have to go area to area and shoot various conversations, but when you shot the whole thing wide, it would just look like this tableau that was an oil painting, and it would be, so somebody would be talking over here, and you'd go into all those conversations so you'd see what they all are. But it would be just an homage to the Last Supper, and some sort of like they're prepping for a battle in heaven or whatever. So that's something I would like to do as a director. And then maybe I would sneak in and be in one of the seats. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'd like to do. Thank you for the questions, sweetie. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be super cool.
Kind of a Last Supper thing.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
As you were listing all of the people, I saw in my head the Last Supper.
I mean, and I'm sure I left somebody awesome out that I would want to put in there, but it was a...
Who's in the middle?
Well, say it again? Well, I think you're going to have Rob. I think you're going to have Rob in the middle trying to keep, you know, and Pellegrino's there trying to calm these guys over here, and these guys, like, he got all his boys together, got everybody together. Probably needs law enforcement, so he brings in Jody and Donna to try to, you know, handle it. The security. Because you don't want things going amok.
No.
You know. Anyway, that would be...
Who's Judas?
That's got to be Mark? Pellegrino? Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Pellegrino. That's my thought.
Anyway, not to change the subject, but I'm personally a really big fan of the person that's going to ask the next question.
Oh, who's going to ask the next question? Oh, why is Thelma? Why? Your costume is fantastic.
Thank you so much.
I said it yesterday, and I say it again. It was great. And were you Rowena the first day? Was that?
No.
Somebody else was, okay, because that was another great one. I can't tell, everybody's in cosplay, I don't know who's who. Fabulous, your question would be?
So, you know, a lot of plots are based on real stories.
Mm-hmm.
So, what stories from Kings of Cons are real?
Yeah, like there are little pieces of truth in Kings of Con. Yeah, there are. I'm trying to think of...
well, I may have given you one.
You did, yeah, I stole one from Jason. And I totally stole it. Because he told me the story. The story about Richard working out too much and losing his ability to use his arms was actually something Jason actually did to himself.
I did. It was actually, it was right before the Tough Mudder. And I had been like intending to get into shape the whole time. Like I was like, it was on my list. It was always last on the list of things that I had to do that day.
Like, buy beer,
Yep.
take a nap,
Yep.
prepare for an incredibly excruciating race.
Yeah, and I would only get to 1 and 2. And so I went into my CrossFit gym and decided I was going to start working out again. And just as luck would have it, it was the worst workout of all time. It was some special thing where you do like 100 pull-ups and 1,000,000 push-ups, and I can't remember what it was. And so I did the workout, and then I was like, man, that probably wasn't a good idea. And I woke up the next day, no exaggeration, with dead arms. And like I sat down on my computer, I wrote an email, and then when I stood up, I couldn't straighten my arms.
You a T-Rex?
And I called the boys. I was like, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do the Tough Mudder. I think I broke myself. I'm gonna come on the trip, and I'll see when we get there if I can do it. But I don't know. And literally, that like the day before the race was the first time I could like straighten my
Your
arms.
muscles released.
Yeah.
And you did really well in the race, by the way. But yeah, I stole that one from Jason. I'm trying to, real quickly, if I can remember. Well, obviously at the end, the finale, we sort of did a play on Con Men, which was the other show that had been created and launched right before ours with bigger names, so we played on that. We didn't, it wasn't based on a reality. The one thing was based, say it again?
Robbie waking up in Rome.
Robbie waking up in Rome. That was true. We lost Rob for a year. No, by the way, that's a funny one because we shot Rob. I just brought the camera to Rome, and we shot Rob waking up in Rome without any idea how we were going to work that into the show. We just figured out a way to. We shot that, and then we wrote an entire episode that would lead up to Rob waking up in Rome. There was one. There was when Kent O'Grady is eating all the potatoes. That is a true story. It's slightly exaggerated. Tim Amundsen has an unholy love of au gratin potatoes, which we learned at a convention in Vegas. We're all having dinner, and the motherfucker wouldn't put down the potatoes. And like, he's otherwise very sophisticated, like, why, methinks we'll have a meal, you lads. Shall dine with you, it shall be fun. And then they get serving the thing, and he's just like, goes down and serves himself all in. Like,
I shall only have are those potatoes?
Oh, gratin, Lord, my Achilles heel. And so we started calling him Timmy O'Gratin. And he's pissing off, so he's like, I had maybe a serving and a half. I'm like, well, it all depends on your serving size. Like, if your serving size is, say, a bucket, then yeah, you're right there. But
I'm curious. The episode where Rob takes drugs and turns into the cool guy.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a play on the joke that you guys always make about how you guys are kind of opposites in the sense that like Rob is in general kind of nervous sometimes. You know, it's like he just has a higher anxiety, you know, higher RPM, except when you put a guitar on him and you put him in front of a mic, he turns into the smoothest, coolest dude in the world.
Right.
I always wondered if that was kind of like that.
It essentially is. It's like what we always we call him Euro Rob when it's suddenly he's got a scarf on and hat
and he's like, it doesn't matter.
Whatever, everybody. And then you take it off and he's like, yeah, was the show good? But while he's Euro Rob, I mean, whatever. Listen, I don't care. Yeah, that's essentially what it was. Like, the how do we bridge those two characters and get together? You like Kings of Con, do you?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your question.
Love you, thank you.
That's costume is freaking awesome. Hello. By the way, Goblin just sounds much more interesting with that accent. You know, it's good. Makes you get a lot more confessions out of people. All right, you.
Hi, so this is for both of you. I was wondering, since you both play instruments, how do you choose which instrument to learn?
I answer quickly because Jason probably has a much more interesting story. I learned to play bass. That's where I started on because my best friend growing up took up the guitar, and he was really good, really fast when we were about 13, 14. So I thought, well, if I ever want to be in a band with this guy, I better learn to play bass because I ain't going to catch up to him on guitar. So I'm going to learn bass. So I learned bass. And we started a band the next year. So that's how that worked.
That's actually a way more interesting story than mine.
Possible.
I found one in my attic. I was in my attic looking for something else, and I saw a case, and I opened it, and there was a guitar in it, and I was like, Dad, we own a guitar? And he was like, oh yeah, I play guitar. And I was like, I'm 14 years old, and you've never told me you play guitar before. And he's like, I play a little bit. And he taught me like 2 songs on it. And then I went from there.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for taking my question. So Gabriel's a bit of a ladies' man, so how would you interact with the wayward sisters?
Oh, I think he would be, he would realize he was way out of his league with those ladies. I mean, I feel like they would be wise to him and not take any of his crap. I feel like, I think Gabriel is, at his core, really a deeply insecure person. Or angel, and I think that's why he, avoids responsibility and masks it with the sort of a party boy image. But the truth is, he's not that great with ladies, which is really well exemplified by his interactions with Rowena. I think when he's sort of like kind of clueless to the sort of dance a little bit that she's coming on to him. There's a little bit of like are we? Is this? And I think that sort of, kind of, I don't want to say innocence, but sort of naive energy that you kind of see little glimpses of in that exchange. I think that's really more who he is than the suave guy. I think that's, so I think he would see them immediately sense their power and authority and think, oh, yes ma'am. Over here? Sure, I'll wait in line. I think he'd have a huge crush on them. Both of them, because what's not to love about those ladies? You know what I mean? By the way, and I gotta go, thank you. I gotta go when I turn the stage over to Jason Mans, but out of curiosity, how many of you are disappointed by Wayward Sisters not getting picked up for television? If you are disappointed, do yourself and the show a favor. Go online, find that petition, put your name on it, and let's see if we can't make them change their mind. And share the word on the internet. Tell your friends to do it. Post it on Tumblr. Put it on Facebook. Get the word out there. A bunch of network people screwed up. Let's help them right their wrong. Thank you, everybody. Dismiss.
I'm actually going now too, but thank you so much.